What you doing?
Hey, sorry, you can't see me either. Give me 1 second.
Oh, we don't have to see you. This is radio.
Listen, I kept face makeup on. All right, so I feel like I need to be seen.
I knew you would be early because that's such the radio person in you that it's like when it's showtime, I mean, you've got to be there.
Yeah, I am either an hour early for everything or 20 minutes late. There's no in between. Never.
Do you live by the same rule I do, that 3 hours early is actually 6 hours too late?
Not quite that bad, but that's where I get most of my social media done. Is I'll show up places really early to make sure I am there on time and that I have a good parking spot, and then I just scroll. I doom scroll for a solid hour before I go anywhere.
The purpose of this conversation tonight is that when I first heard that you were coming to town, it was like, oh my God, I want the students of this school to be able to sit down and have a conversation with somebody who has paid their dues. I remember when you were doing sales and you had that dream to be on the air.
Yep. Yeah, no, I worked really hard and hustled to get where I am. And yeah, I've done pretty much every single job in radio. I've done sales, I've done promotions, and I've been lucky enough to do mornings now. In July, it'll be 13 years. So
I wanted to ask a question about you preparing for your, what I call storytelling. When you had your podcast and you said that you thought you had been shot, you had been filming, you were in Memphis driving, and I used to live there, and it gets real hot in the summer, and you thought you'd been shot in the car with the salsa exploding, but you thought there was blood in the back of your head. And I thought, this is hysterical, this is a scream. And I thought, is this you making a main thought, and then it sparks like a conversation in yourself to be able to talk about it, and it has legs to the story?
yeah, so one of the big things that I learned very early on in my radio career and just kind of in general, especially now where social media is such a huge presence in everything you do, is most of us can relate to most of the things that everybody else has gone through, and just take experiences that are relatable and talk about them as they actually happen. And if you lived in Memphis, I lived off Winchester, if that rings any bells. So it was a very potentially realistic moment that I could have in fact been shot, but no, it was just a seltzer water. And so what I've done over time is learned how to take those stories, and then the way social media is really amazing is when you post a video, you immediately get insights. I mean, it's like 2 hours usually on a delay, and you can watch it over the next few days or the week or the month. And you can see, when did people tune in? When did they tune out? What part did you lose them? And so from there, you can grow your storytelling ability. And I think that's what people want. They want somebody that can share a story that'll make them laugh or make them feel, or just make them feel like it's something they can relate to.
Liz, you and I came up in the ranks where doing a podcast or even a vlog, what people didn't understand that. And we were radio people that were looking for that next stage, and they didn't believe in us, but they said, keep doing it. So what made you keep doing it?
I just started having success, and then eventually I started getting paid for it. And that's really what kept pushing me, if we're going to be very honest. Because like even today, social media is like a big thing for me. And even today, I was like, I'm over the people on there right now that are commenting. And I still was like, well, you got to keep it going. So just keep going. You've already posted it. So interact and do what you need to do. But yeah, no, like everything's always evolving. Radio, in the most flattering way I can possibly say this, is a cockroach. Whenever somebody says, oh, radio's going to die out, nobody listens to radio, then people get in their car and they drive to work and they need an escape. And sometimes it's too clunky to listen to your phone because your phone is dying. And then your car, like there's just so many steps in it that if you're able to build a connection, and if you can build a connection with them online, you can bring them back to radio now. And so it all kind of just works together hand in hand. And I've just been very lucky so far in the success that I've had.
So you're headed back here. I mean, you're from here. And
I am,
coming from across the country in Oregon. I read something in one of your posts. You said you adopt the accent of where you're staying. So, I mean, should we log this now and see how quickly your accent comes back? Or?
Y'all are deep diving. I mean, I'm from
Well,
I'm
a
from
traveler,
Stanley
too.
County. That's where I grew up, out there towards Albemarle, down 24,
There you go,
27.
girl.
And so I had a Southern accent. And then I moved to Memphis, and Memphis has a Southern accent that's different. I don't even know how to explain it, but wherever I am, I just kind of somehow pick it up. And then I was in Portland for 4 years, and the accent there is almost Canadian.
Right.
So I am going up at the end of sentences now. So it honestly just depends on who I'm talking to. And sometimes I slide into it and I don't even mean to.
So I'm a traveler too, but I have never made it out to Portland. I think the most I know about Portland is the Fred Armisen show, Portlandia. How accurate is that?
When I moved there, they told me not to watch it because they were afraid it would skew me. Yeah, so I never watched it. I trusted in what my program director at the time had to say. But it is very, very, very different than it is here.
Well, I'm excited to hear as you're on the radio with Matt Harris. Some of your stories about Portland. I'd like to find out a little more about what that was like.
Yeah, I sprinkle it in here and there. It was just very, very different. And candidly, it was a lot more culture shock than I anticipated. But I enjoyed my time in Portland, and it was a very supportive audience. And, I got the opportunity to host a morning show, which as a female is still, I don't want to say unheard of, but especially when I got the chance, I didn't know anybody else whose name came first that was a female. And I grew everything while I was out there. I ended up being an entertainment reporter for the CBS affiliate Coin, and got to do Grammy stuff with them. And I got to do a lot of experiences that I probably wouldn't have otherwise, especially with the pandemic going on. And I'm very thankful for my time there. But I would be lying if I said I'm not extremely ecstatic about being home.
Well, we're happy to have you back, and I could tell just seeing some articles about leaving there that your fans and your listeners really loved you, and there was definitely a great show there. So, but we're so happy to have you here. And,
and what's so cool is with the internet now and the way you can still interact, it's not like you just say goodbye and you leave. Like, people will follow you from city to city. And I was in Memphis for almost 8 years. And when I went to Portland, it would be the funniest thing because we would get callers with Southern accents. And I'd be like, oh, those are my people. They're streaming me. They're streaming me.
Let's talk about the business of what we do as podcasters and doing videos. And the reason why I bring this up is because one of the things that I really do kind of share with future students is that protect your art that you were creating before you get into the industry. And I have to ask you, were they knocking on your door saying, Liz, if you come here and you do this, we own it, or do you still have your claws still in it?
I don't know how much I'm allowed to share.
That's all you need to say. That's all you need to say. Okay, you just said it. Yeah.
That's mine. That's my name. That's my my real name is Luda. All I did was drop the 3 letters off the end because it was terribly hard to spell. That is mine. That is me. But I see it as an asset, even if they're not monetizing it specifically for themselves. It brings people in from that area that might otherwise not have known that I do radio, or this is the same. You know what I mean? I think it helps on all fronts.
How much did the analytics help you in coming to a Charlotte? Because we're working. What is it? 17?
20, I think. I think we just got 20. Yeah, we'll say 17. Yeah, it makes me have better bragging rights. Absolutely, it is. It helps. There's people that are from all over on all of my social media, and honestly, more than anything, looking at the analytics and seeing, like, in this video, majority of people made it to 40 seconds. In a minute and 7-second video. Well, why did I lose them? And that's one of my hyper focuses, is being able to go and be like, well, this video, they stayed longer. And you can use that to get better and better and better, which makes your next stuff that you post even better. And then it makes you better as an on-air talent, I think, as well. And it also makes me very good at having an internal clock where I'll know, okay, you've hit the 3-minute mark. You should probably start to back away unless there's some really great content that's coming out, and figuring out how to keep people's attention span. And especially through radio, keeping them from that one break through a song to the next break. That is huge. That's how you win in radio.
You use your imagination to make the association between the personalities of the different people. And you did this one podcast with the pasta types, and I couldn't stop laughing because you were saying that you were the rotini, and you said, listen, we're not talking to the angel hair people. And I said to my friend Carmen, I said, she's not going to talk to us now.
Oh, I'll talk to you. No, it's just, I was just being silly. Like, I feel like everybody is kind of described by a pasta shape and what they say. Like, if you kind of get a vibe for their personality. Like if they say farfalle, you kind of get an idea of who they are. If they're a rigatoni, they're a solid person. Like,
do you find yourself utilizing the strength of stream thinking? Because these ideas that you put into your performances, I mean, they are everyday us. And it's like, you've got to be able to have the confidence to put it out there, because we're visually seeing every facial expression while listening to you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'm just really self-centered. I know that's not the best answer, but like people get mean, people will be brutal. And some days you just or whatever, I could care less. Like I've had some trolls that were coming at me today, and somebody said that I'm a real peach of a person. So my response was to Photoshop my face on a peach. You just deal with it, but it doesn't. I have thick skin, there's not really much anything that somebody can say from behind a keyboard that can hurt me. Like, obviously if they say something about my family or that'll bother me. But if you're talking about me, I don't mind putting myself out there, because we're all a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah.
And that's like a really cool thing too, that I discovered along my way in my journey. It's like when I first started out in radio, I thought you had to be a certain way. You had to act a certain way. You had to look a certain way. And most of us are just weirdos, all doing our own weird thing. And that's how you can hook somebody and connect, is by just being the weirdo that you are. Like, people love the fact that I am socially awkward and I walk into glass doors and fall on the floor. And this really happens in my life, like a lot. And so those are the things people kind of hang on to, because they're like, oh, I've done that, or I've done, and so being a weirdo and embracing it, I think, is the best you can do. And then you just don't care, because who cares? You're you. Life's too short to care.
It wouldn't be any fun if there weren't any weirdos. Who would you stare and laugh at? I'm just.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, at least you're laughing.
I love your topical posts, especially. I'm an Instagram follower, and I kind of took a look through your stuff, and I love your topical stuff. I love those, like you were saying, those in the moment. Everybody experiences this, and you throw that hook out. Hey, this just happened. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I mean, I found myself really enjoying a lot of those, and I can tell that's a little bit of show prep. There's a little bit of material in there, and I really got what you were saying. As an up and coming kind of personality, I appreciate the way you go with that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. What I do is throughout the day in my notes app on my phone, I just randomly write things. Oh, you can't see it because it's so glowy, as they're happening. And then I just keep them. And then I'm like, okay, I'll make a video or I'll make a break. And if it works, that's awesome. If it doesn't,
yeah, but you know what that is, though, Liz? That right there is the makings of a brand new book. Because what's happening is you continue to build, and now that you're in a powerhouse market like Charlotte, I mean, this is the kind of stuff where you sell books too, and that's part of the journeys that we take, as creative people.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Now, working with somebody like Matt, because Matt is a man with a lot of energy, and you talk about a creative soul as well.
He's another weirdo.
Yeah.
He's a fellow weirdo. Honestly. Yeah. No, he's really nice. He's kind. I grew up listening to him. And, Ramona is still in the building. She's been nothing but a cheerleader for me from day one. Matt has been nothing but respectful. And he's really great because, both of us we're not bothered by being blunt or rejection. So I'm like, what about this idea? No, I don't like it. Oh, okay. And the same thing, back and forth. Oh, okay, no, I thought I'd try. All right, yeah. I like that. I enjoy working with somebody that can be direct and not try to be making a praise sandwich all the time, because I can't always pull the bread off to get to the meat in the middle when those happen. So I've really enjoyed working with him so far. He's been really fun.
The wake-up call for me when I did mornings on 95.1 here in town was 2:45. Mm-hmm. I had to be there by 4 o'clock for show prep and enough coffee.
Yeah. I get up at 3:30. It's kind of nice. The last morning gig I had started at 5. This one starts at 6. So I don't have to get up quite as early. And then I made sure to move close to the station so that it's only like a 15, 20-minute drive. And I do drink a lot of coffee. I run mostly on coffee, ambition, and then Sour Patch Kids.
Yay!
Constantly.
All right.
So whenever you start to feel sleepy, you just pop one in the sour. Brings you back.
Yeah, my worst fear was it wasn't the first break at 6 a.m. when you're popping on, but it was usually the drunk drivers. That's who I feared when I was driving into the radio station.
Oh, for me, it's the deer. I'm out in Gaston County. I'm on Mount Holly. I saw a deer this morning. That's what I'm more scared of. I don't know. It's pretty deserted in the mornings, and I like driving during weird hours because I hate traffic. And so since I've done morning radio for so long, I don't really have to worry about traffic because nobody else is going anywhere. It's just me.
So I'll get real local on you. When I first moved here in '99, we used to go to the Baden Road Drive-In, and they have an answering machine. They still do. And anybody who came from the north that say, hey, you want to hear what the South is like? Call this number. And they'd be, hey, y'all, we got a...
y'all, this room, we got this happen. Yeah. And then they ride around on four-wheelers, flashing flashlights, telling you to leave room for Jesus. Yeah, that's where I'm from.
Honk your horn and turn on your lights. Is there anything that you used to share with folks from here back home? Anything that would make them laugh, or anything you love about the South that you were looking forward to coming back to?
It's just little things. I like the fact that when you go to a restaurant, you just say tea, and they already make the assumption that it's sweet tea. Like little things like that. You just miss it. I miss one thing when I was on the West Coast is like, you don't talk to strangers. And I really missed that. Like people thought I was just very weird because I would be in the grocery store like, oh, is that cheese good? Yeah. Should I try that? Is it on sale? Oh yeah. And versus like here in the South, like everybody, if you talk to them, they'll talk back for the most part. So like that's something that is very unique to here. And then bugs, I didn't realize until I moved to Portland, like people on their bucket list see fireflies. And I'm like, you've never seen a firefly? Like just little things like that where you're like, oh, okay. Oh, and how small the wildlife is on this side of the country too. I appreciate that. Yeah. I feel like I can more easily befriend a raccoon because they're tinier.
How do you fit everything into your day? Because I have to be in the studio by a certain time, and for me to do other things or meet other expectations, I am on the clock all the time. What about you?
I mean, yeah, when we first moved back, we moved to Waxhaw. And so my kid is in Union County schools, and we moved to Mount Holly like 3 weeks ago. So it's like as soon as I get done, I got to go commute an hour to Waxhaw. And then I sit in the car rider line and come up with ideas and make videos and weird people out. Then I get my kid and I come back and we eat dinner. And then that's pretty much the night. Like that's my entire day is work, pick my kid up. So I'm looking forward to summer. But yeah, I stay pretty busy.
Wow. It's so funny to hear you talk about having kids. When I first met you, you were the kid.
I know, right? Right. They trust me with him. Yeah. He's mine. Yeah, no, it's been a complete shift in life, but yeah, he's the absolute best. And I think he wants to be a weather person when he grows up. So I'm supporting that right now.
So I have a question. So I actually used to work for Norse Media, the Spanish radio station here in Charlotte. I had a flashback right now that you said with the morning coffee. Did anybody look at you weird when you said like coffee and Sour Patch Kids? Because our breakfast was Red Bull, coffee, and some weird empanadas that somebody used to bring all the time.
Well, I'm in my 30s now, so I can't be doing the cold empanadas and the Red Bull. I feel like I'll get the palpitations. But yeah, no, nobody gives us too many looks. Honestly, there's not really that many people when I get there. I did have somebody who brought me like my own coffee, like the little K-Pods, because I've always just had a regular coffee pot. And so like I always feel like when I show up with my own little pot of coffee, everyone's looking at me because they think I'm stealing it to go put in the machine down the hall. So I always have like this awkward moment where I like try to hide it and be like, I brought this from home. I didn't take the best flavors. Like that's the only time it's really gotten weird. But like for the most part, there's maybe 10 of us in the building in the morning, I think. Something like that. It's a low number. So we don't actually really see each other very much.
In your multiple years of radio, did you play by the one rule that we all have to live by? Don't eat listener food.
Oh, no, I've broken that rule. Times are tough. Sometimes if somebody makes you cookies, you got to eat them. No, my years in Memphis, I trusted them. Nobody ever. Yeah, honestly, I'm probably the person you got to worry about bringing the sketch food. Like, no, I've broken that many times.
You're actually a very brave soul, because we had an incident here at the Spanish radio station. Somebody, they brought, especially from the Dominican Republic, mango. That poor soul was in the bathroom for a couple hours. So
Is that
we all
the
looked
thing
at
that looks
him.
kind of like a volcano? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like we all looked
I
at
would
it.
have done it too. Worth it.
We all looked at the mango and we're like, I was like, I don't know. And I'm from New York, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, that doesn't look the right color. And he was like, nah. He was like, I'm hungry. And I was like, well, you go ahead, sir. Next thing you know, he was like, help, send help.
You know, I've had listeners that have reached out to me. There's this one lady in Memphis, and her name's Belinda. And she, even when I was in Portland, was like mailing me baked goods. And I was like, thank you. They would just show up at that station. Like, I had moved 2,000 miles away and I still was eating listener food from another market.
So where can people go to find out more about you so they can give you lots of love and support everything that you're doing?
Right now, probably my biggest audience I have is Liz Luda, Luda, like the Chris Luda, on Facebook. I'm on Instagram and TikTok as at Liz on the air. Yeah. And I just post videos randomly whenever the moment hits me. I try to stay consistent. But that's pretty much it. I tried to do YouTube and they were too mean. I backed out. I was like, I'm good. So those are the three main places.
Liz, you got to come back to the show anytime in the future. You know the door is always going to be open for you.
Yeah. And I don't know if I could ever help, because that's the biggest thing is at the end of the day, it's making connections and knowing people. And like, I didn't plan on winding back in Charlotte. Like, I didn't plan on that being part of, I wanted to, but I didn't think it would. And my program director now, Neil, who you know, Arrow,
yes, yeah.
I randomly emailed him 2 years ago before I even met him and was just like, hey, I was back home visiting. The station sounds great. My name's Liz. Yeah. And then I just started sending him Christmas cards every year. And so when I found myself back in Charlotte, I was like, hi, you want to meet? And then it just kind of happened. So
wow.
Yeah. Anyways, all that to say, network. So if I can ever help or be an extra set of ears or something, always feel free to reach out to me as well.
Excellent. Well, you be brilliant tonight. Go to bed. You got to get up early.
Oh my gosh, I'm so ready for bed. Have a great day. It was so nice to meet all of you.
Bye.
All right. Bye.